The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for January 25th, 2026. This is season 15, episode number 40, and this is episode number 554 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And wow, we just saw something that normally doesn't happen in Binghamton Black Bears franchise history, which is we just saw a shutout against the Binghamton Black Bears. It's only the third time in the franchise history, now only the second time to happen actually in the regular season. And the third time was, of course, last year in the playoffs against the Port Huron Prowlers. And, you know, before we get to that game, because there's not really a lot to talk about the game, essentially, but there is the reaction to that loss. So let's talk about that reaction just a little bit first, Taylor, because if you go and you look and you read the fan pages, the fans all have their opinions about, you know, why they lost, how could they have lost. Well, if C-Mac was there, it would be different. If the referees called the calls that they should have called it should have been there. And what's funny is I woke up this morning thinking, man, what can we learn from this game? You know, is there a learning moment from this game? And your reaction almost immediately after the game was, big whoop, let's just move on to the next game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, of course you always want your team to win. You know, you constantly tell me how optimistic I am about stuff, and that's just my nature. So obviously going into Saturday's game after the game on Friday, you pretty much had high hopes anyways.
Yeah.
I was expecting an exciting game either way, just because of how Friday went. And I don't think that Saturday wasn't exciting. And I don't think, you know, like there wasn't the talent out there, the this or the that. But definitely the fan reaction that I've seen, they don't, you know, definitely a different reaction compared to how I felt. Because to me, you know, I understand and absolutely love this team. I love, you know, hockey in the sense. I love being there. I love doing the things that I'm doing. But to me, at the end of the day, this is just a hockey game.
Sure.
And I know I would at least hope that after this game and after a loss, you go into that locker room, you can talk about the things that, you know, you saw that you needed to work on or needed to fix or whatever the situation is, and you just move on to the next game.
Yeah. Because
sitting there dwelling on the loss or talking about what could have been differently or done differently or should have been done differently, it doesn't matter now because it's not going to change the outcome. Yeah. The outcome is what it is. And nothing that the team did got the puck in the back of the net, which is, you know, obviously how you win the game. And even if there was any comments about, well, we needed Connor back, Tomei still didn't let any more than 3 goals in, which has kind of been the MO the entire year. They don't let more than 3 goals in. The fourth one, he wasn't in net. You can't blame him. Yeah.
After the first one that he let in, it doesn't matter, right? Because, you know, the goaltender is put out of the, if you think about it, and this is how I see it, is because the Black Bears didn't score any goals, after the first goal that Tomei gave up, it doesn't matter. So he could have given up 7, and I'd still think the same way. The Black Bears got shut out. Dominic Tomei didn't get shut out. So him only giving up 3 goals because the fourth one was an empty netter. It doesn't matter. He still, I think, probably saw more quality shots against him in that game than Parker Rutherford did on his end of the ice. I just don't think that the Black Bears were able to crack the code of PD's defense. They were pushed to the perimeter, which they do so effectively well against so many other teams. But this was done to them this time, where they were shooting from outside the zone. And then when they were able to get in deep and in front of Parker Rutherford, what happened? A Pee Dee IceCat would grab the puck and start moving it the other way. And they did such a good job about that. So I look at it, this is, well, you break down that game tape on Tuesday morning's practice in the video room, and you kind of look at that and you break it down and you find out what can we do better in those situations. You spend an hour talking about it with the players, and then you go out and you practice and you start planning for Carolina, Twin City, whatever you want to call them, the Thunderbirds. That's realistically what you do here, right? Like you said, after Saturday night, you go into the locker room. Coach probably said a few F words and probably was not happy with the outcome. The players weren't happy with the outcome. I can tell you right now, as they were skating out there and doing the post-game skate, and I was sitting down there, I was sitting with Bailey and Lizzie Beagle, and then Dan Weber had a former from St. Lawrence University, the former EQ manager was there visiting Dan this weekend, which was really cool. We were all sitting there. The four of us were sitting there, and I was talking mostly to Bailey, but some of the players would come around and wave. And it wasn't like the usual, hi, Bob, how you doing, fist pumps. You could see the disappointment on their faces. So, that's the people that should be affected. If they're unhappy with their fourth loss, absolutely, that's on them. But at the end of the night, when they put their heads down and sleep, I hope this morning on Sunday, they're not thinking about it no more. They'll get another review of it on Tuesday when Coach probably does some video and says, hey, here's the things that we need to work on. But otherwise, the team should move on, and they need to move on. They need to learn from it, then move on. That's basically how I see it. And referees, no, it's not anything to do with the goaltenders. Basically, PD walked in there. Gary Graham had his team with a game plan, and it worked. They played north to south hockey, and then they passed east to west, and they were able to beat. There was a one play, I think was on Friday night maybe, where I saw Dan Stone positioned exactly where he was supposed to be. He played the play exactly the way he was supposed to be. However, they made a perfect pass. I think it was leg off over to one of the Marcus Senovitz, if I'm saying that right, and I'm pretty sure I'm not. Perfect pass over there. Dominic Tomei was moving from east to west in the net, but the goal scorer was quicker than our goaltender could move. And that is a recipe to score goals and win. Nothing that Dan Stone did wrong. He was hoping that somebody was on the left side, kind of protecting that side. And as he came over, he couldn't get over quick enough. Our goaltender couldn't get over quick enough. And they had all the speed, and they were able to score. That is something that they could break down in film. They can break down what happened with the turnovers and the odd man rushes, and we'll keep working on it. Otherwise, I don't walk away from that going, oh my gosh. Matter of fact, when you and I, after we get through some of the reads that we're going to do, and we talk about the 4 games, we're going to rank them first to fourth on the ones that we lost, right? Because we can actually do that because it's only 4 losses, and it'd be kind of neat and fun to see if we rank them the same. For me, this one doesn't even rank as the worst loss, and we didn't even score. That's the funny part about that. But we'll get to that in a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, after this weekend, it just made me wish that we actually faced PD more often.
Yes.
Because, we only get the one chance against them. And honestly, I really liked what I was seeing from both sides. I mean, PD definitely put Binghamton to a challenge, which is something that I don't think we've necessarily had, at least not to this extent.
Other than
I don't think we've had... That's fair.
Yeah.
But even Athens, I would rather face PD over and over and over again because it forces you to be better.
Yeah.
It forces you to be on top of your game.
Sure.
Where, facing Watertown and Danbury, you're used to it. You know what to look for.
Yeah.
And what PD was able to do was they constantly, if you had the puck, they had a guy on you. They did not give you any space to breathe whatsoever.
Agreed.
And that's something that I don't think the Black Bears are used to or anything they've seen this season.
About the only team that does the man on you almost immediately was Port Huron. And guess what? We lost one game to Port Huron this year. So I think the way that PD plays the man on you immediately is less physical, but still effective than Port Huron. I think it's still effective, but it's less physical, right? Like Port Huron is just like, I'm not just putting a man on you. I'm going to put a body on you. And that can be disruptive, right? And it was at least in a couple games, and we've only taken one loss. With PD, they use their stick, and they use their sticks very, very well. So very interesting. We'll get into it a little bit more. We want to start tonight by thanking everybody who jumped into our new poster giveaway last week. The response was awesome, and we ended up with 2 winners walking away with their very own 11 by 14 Black Bears player poster. And good news, we're not done. The contest continues this Thursday. So make sure you tune in, listen for the code phrase, and get your message into Taylor on Facebook Messenger for your shot to win. So you got to pay attention to next week's this upcoming Thursday show, and we're going to give you a chance to win again, which will be very, very cool. And Taylor, let's talk about the contest for a second. I think you were surprised on how well it was received. We got a good number of people sending in messages, even after I said, okay, guys, we've got a winner. We actually had 2 winners at that point. You had to send me a message and say, we've got a problem. And that problem basically was 2 people sent in, Lori and Miguel sent in at the same exact time. So how do you count 5th if there's Facebook doesn't give you seconds, right? I mean, we would almost have to go to seconds. That's how crazy that was. So your thoughts on the first week of the contest?
I was definitely shocked. I didn't think it was going to do bad, just because, the fan reaction is already positive to begin with. So I didn't think it was going to do bad, but I was definitely shocked to know that as I'm walking my daughter to the school bus that I had my first message and it was not even 8 yet. And I was like, oh man, everybody's already starting. They seriously waited. And then, it just kept going from there. And I was very shocked because, Tuesday is my busiest day.
Yeah.
Or no, Thursday. My Tuesday used to be my busiest day. So now it's my Thursday, and I was in my first stop, and I just had to keep going through message after message. And to get 2 at the same time, I was like, oh no, I wasn't prepared for this. But I'm glad that we did it the way that we did, and I'm so happy for both of them.
Yeah, me too. And what was very cool is Dan Stone saw the poster because Miguel brought it in and had Dan Stone sign it. That night, obviously, it was inverse night, so they did the jersey auction, and that was when we gave them the poster. And obviously, that was signed that night. Dan looked at it; he was like, "Whoa, this is cool." And Miguel said, "Yeah, it was Power Play Post Show giveaway." And Dan looks at me, he goes, wow, that's great. He goes, that's awesome. And he signed it. And then I got a picture of Miguel and Dan Stone with it, which is so very, very cool. Then I know that the next night, Lori, who is really the grandmother and the mother of the 2 people who came up and actually got the poster from us on Friday night, her grandson, Lori's grandson, actually took the poster out on the ice during the skate with the players afterwards and had Ivan Bondarenko sign it. So I thought that was wicked cool as well.
Yeah, I got the picture from the Bondarenko one, and it just made me so happy to know that, because I know that there was some comments about if they were going to be signed before giving them out. And I think that's something that could happen. But at the same time, I think it's more special to kind of, if you want the signature, to go get it yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, these players, they're so good about that kind of stuff. They do so much for the fan base. And it makes me happy to know that the players are also kind of enjoying this moment as well.
Yeah, me too. And I just want to reiterate one more thing. It's going to be one until the end of this season. It's going to be one winner. You can win one time, let everybody else get a chance to win. I'd rather be able to spread the love like that. Next year, if we do this, which I don't see why we won't, we'll probably even, maybe allow people to win multiple times. But I told Miguel, I was like, the Perry family got to be careful with passing information around, because if there was any of that going on, I know the Perry family a little bit. So, but either way, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad we're going to keep doing it because it'll be a lot of fun. The poster might change just a little bit if we do get a potential sponsor, a printing sponsor. We're working on a couple things to kind of, we'll see. I sent some emails, and we'll see what happens on that side of things. Otherwise, I hope everybody keeps enjoying it.
Yeah, and with that, the Power Play Post Show relies on your support to grow. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and like the episode. Those actions help YouTube recommend the show to more hockey fans, expanding our reach and supporting future content. Subscribe and like to help the show continue moving forward.
All right. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment, and share our latest episodes with your friends. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net. And coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show from the Binghamton Black Bears, it is defenseman Cheechoo Lathlin who will answer 6 more questions. So I kind of hinted on this, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to rank the Black Bears 4 losses this season. And let me just kind of go through them real quick. And this is in calendar order. So on November 1st, 2025, we had a 4-1 loss to the Port Huron Prowlers, and that was in Port Huron. Okay. November 14th, 2025, a 5-3 loss to the Athens Rock Lobsters. That was at home, as we've only played Athens and will only play Athens twice, which is kind of like my theory, like what you were talking about with Pee Dee. I kind of wish we played them just a little bit more. That would be nice. Now, January 2nd, 2025, we had a 4-3 loss to the Watertown Wolves in Watertown. And then January 24th, which was obviously Saturday night, we had a 4-0 shutout loss to the Pee Dee IceCats. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to rank these first to fourth based on the worst loss of the season being number 1 and the least worst loss being number 4. Basing our rankings on impact, fullness on the season, or potential playoff implications. That's basically what we're going to base this on, but it's really honestly for fun. And if anyone takes offense to it, you can just buzz off because I'm a Gen Xer and I don't give a rat's ass. But this is what we're going to do just to have a little bit of fun here. All right. So Taylor, let's start with number 4. So this is the least worst loss of the season. For you, what's the least worst loss of these 4 games?
Probably honestly the game that we just had, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I know, it's a shutout at home, and that's something that, from my knowledge, hasn't been done at home. But I do think the effort was there, and they couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. I think there was chances. They tried, and I think Pee Dee just outplayed Binghamton that day. Yeah. I don't really have any complaints about it.
Yeah, I think for me, it was the November 14th, 2025 loss to the Athens Rock Lobsters. I put that as the least worst loss because, last year we did the same thing with Athens as we did this year. Basically, we lost one, and then we came back and we won one. This was the first game of that 2-game set, and the same thing happened. We came back and we actually came back, had a great game on Saturday to beat Athens. So this was my least loss. We still scored 3 goals in the game, and I felt like we were probably at one of the highest levels of competitiveness that we were this season. So that's why I put the November 14th game as number 4. Who is your number 3 most, least, worst loss?
I'm gonna have to do the one that you just did,
Yeah.
honestly, for pretty much the same exact reason. It was, it came back and won the next game. So to me, that was, it made up for it, kind of thing.
Okay. So, and I think we swap 3 and 4 here, because for me, the game that we just saw against the Pee Dee IceCats, and the only reason why I put this at 3 instead of 4 is because we didn't score any goals, and it was a shutout loss.
Right.
But I do feel like there was a lot of heart, there was a lot of effort, and the IceCats just played better that night. That's really what it comes down to. Their defense played better, their goaltender played better, and their forwards. It doesn't mean that there wasn't any heart and there wasn't any effort by the Black Bears. That was all there. And by golly, I'm going to say this again, and I'll probably say it again later on when we talk about this game again. When you are down 3-0 and you have a player skating across the ice or sliding across the ice to try to block the 4th goal when there's 35 seconds left, I'm sorry. That doesn't show to me that a team doesn't have heart or effort. It's just that the hockey gods were on your side. The bounces didn't go your way. And you got to basically do what everybody did today. Put your damn work boots on and go out and shovel some more snow. That's really what it comes down to. All right. So number 2 for you. What was the number 2 worst loss for you?
I'm going to have to go with the January 2nd 4-3 loss in Watertown.
Oh, all right. So we are completely opposite on this whole thing. Okay. So for me, it's the Port Huron game, right? Just for the simple fact that, we did score a goal, but we did not, we didn't play all that good there. But tell me why that the Watertown game is the least, or the second least worst loss for you.
So it kind of ties into what you were just talking about with Port Huron. The Port Huron game, I definitely felt like it's almost like they didn't have their heart and soul into the game, and they were so discombobulated on the ice and like watching the lines, and they weren't meshing well together that night. And I don't feel that way in the Watertown game. I do think the effort was there. And honestly, with the amount of times that we faced Watertown, at some point they are just bound to get a win. That's just my thinking. Every once in a while they've got to do something to try to get a win. And honestly, like, I understand it, the first game after the year, and you're kind of wanting to go into you want to start the year on a win. But I think it was kind of like an important loss for us and an important win for Watertown.
I'm going to say something that's going to piss off the Watertown Wolves fans and maybe even a couple people in the organization if they actually do listen to this. I think the reason why, to me, the January 2nd loss to Watertown was the worst loss so far of the season for the Black Bears is because the Black Bears should win 17 games against the Watertown Wolves. The skill is there, and even when half the team is there or not there, so to speak, or we're down 2 people. Like that game there, we were down 2 people. And I should give the Black Bears grace for that, right? But I still think that on that night, yes, we lost 4-3. I still think that the Black Bears were the better team. And I think that's the reason why, for me, it's the worst loss. It's the one that stings the most. Like the 4-1 loss to Port Huron doesn't sting as much as the Watertown game. So that's my thought process on that. I find it very interesting. We were not on the same page. We grouped the least worst games in the same, hemisphere, so to speak, but we had everything in a different order. That's a very interesting way for us to look at it. But I think I also want to make this point. How many games did we just rank of the losses? 4. In 34 games this season, they've lost 4 games. Now, I know that Monroe is on a great run right now. I think they have 17 wins, if I remember correctly, because their game today or last night, whatever it was supposed to be played, that got canceled too, obviously, all the weather. I do want to say as well, before I forget, PD is in town until Tuesday. They are not leaving Binghamton until Tuesday. So hopefully either the Booster Club or PD or the Binghamton Black Bears are making sure that these guys are taken care of over these extra couple days. I'm pretty sure that the Black Bears probably are, but I just want to, kind of say that out loud, that they are staying until Tuesday. It didn't make sense for them to leave last night because of all the ice and the sleet and the freezing rain that's down south. You couldn't get through Pennsylvania, as far as I'm told. Like, if you got on 81, they probably wouldn't let you stay on the highway. They would probably kick you off, or you wouldn't be able to get onto it with a big bus. So they are here. Obviously, today was not a good day to travel just in New York. So, again, I just want to throw that out there that they're here at least until Tuesday. So if you see Houston Wilson walking around town somewhere, say hi, be nice. All right. So Taylor, let's get into Inverse Night. Now, before we do that, what did you think of the jerseys?
I think they were nice. I know I definitely like seeing them better in person than you like to see them like on the screen and stuff.
Sure.
And I know there's a couple comments that people were like, "Oh, why are we wearing the IceCats colors?" They didn't look at all similar to me, and I don't understand why people thought they were similar colors, and that part blows my mind. But I really like them. I know there was a comment about somebody wouldn't ever get a white jersey because they get dirty, but I like the white jersey. I don't know. I like, because, we wear green and black so much that I don't know. I like the white jerseys.
That comment cracked me up. Like, I would never get a white jersey because it gets dirty. You can throw it in the wash, dude. I mean, like, I realize
you might want to be careful doing that, because if they were ironed on, either make sure you got a heat presser and iron, because if you wash them, just be careful on that.
Those were a sewn on patch. They were really good. Yeah. Maybe the name on the back might have been.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
The names, they like to come off, because the jersey that we got of Mac and Animals, I think is it the Iceman jersey?
Sure.
Yeah. The names, every time we wash it, we got to reheat it and put it back on, because the A likes to come off.
Yeah, and I know that's a more inexpensive way to put the nameplates on. I'm just used to all the AHL jerseys, and I'm sure Jeremy's got a couple AHL jerseys. He at least, and they all got the names embroidered on where it's sewn in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. I liked it. I liked the colors. First of all, I love that B logo. It is up there with my favorite, which is the B logo for the Binghamton Senators, which is got the little flying bee logo that they did. This was right up there. I loved it. And I'm not just saying that because EJ listens to the show. Hello, EJ. We know you're listening. I absolutely loved it. I told him that. I've told everybody that. I'm not a big purple guy, right? But I really liked the way the colors were, and there was some teal outline on the jersey. It was good. I liked it. I personally liked it. And what I liked about this weekend was we got white for two games in a row at home. You don't normally get that, which means we did get to see the odd colors of the Pee Dee IceCats, which I personally love their logo. Like their the IceCat logo, I love that. It is one of my favorite new logos in the league. The dark jersey just doesn't do it for me. The color of the helmets and the dark purple and the whatever color that was there, I just didn't care for it all that well. However, I love their logo. I just want to say that. So if you're a Pee Dee IceCat fan and you're listening to hear all the garbage that we're going to say about you guys, which we won't, not in this case. I mean, realistically, I like the logo. I just don't like that jersey. The dark jersey, their home jersey, I just don't like.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the jersey, one, because it's so dark, and it actually reminded me of one of Watertown's from last season.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just so many people without names, it drove me nuts.
Yeah, I wish.
I get it. I know they do a lot of roster changes and a lot of roster moves, but just so many no names. It was so hard to keep track of certain people.
Can I do a shout out to Aiden and the Black Bears organization for not putting us through the no name on the back of the jersey thing? I think that Dylan Konecki and, of course, Aiden, who is now the equipment manager, they do such an excellent job that if someone's coming in new and, quickly, they make sure that the nameplate is there. I get it. In some cases, in some organizations, they just don't have either the money or the resources to get that all put together. But man, if you do get those resources and that money, please put that together, because it's just better. It's a better image for your team, number one. And number two, it's easier for people who work in media to know, what am I looking at? And broadcasters. I mean, Tom Callahan is not getting any younger. I mean, the guy was in the NHL and every other league in North America, and you're expecting him to remember all these jersey numbers. So, and I'm picking on Tom. I love him. He's great. Hopefully he made it to Buffalo after Saturday night's game well and safe. I imagine he did. I saw a couple posts on Facebook from him. And so I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, it's like, we're not getting any younger here, folks. So give us nameplates, please. Even Taylor wants it, and she's like 30 years younger than me. Well, it's not 30. It's like 20, but still.
Yeah, don't ask me how old I am, because I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't keep track.
I don't think I've ever asked you.
After like 18, I stopped counting. It's whatever.
You didn't care after that.
It's so bad that I don't know what we were doing one time. This was a couple years ago. And we were somewhere, and somebody asked me how old I was, and I said a number, and Jeremy looked at me, and he's like, "You're 24," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
All right. Well,
so that that just tells you how much I pay attention to. But to kind of jump back a second, because you had said about if we were going to pick on Pee Dee and if any of the fans were listening, I think the only comment that I ever made about them this weekend was, I understand why they're called Pee Dee, and it's because of the twins, because one's Patrick's and one's Dominic's.
Yeah.
Pee Dee. It was a lot of funny to me.
I guess you had to be in the moment. You had to be in the moment. But I gotta be honest with you. It was funny
to me.
I gotta be honest with you. The twins impressed me. They're decent players, and pairing Dominic's up with Alexander Lekoff and Houston Wilson, that was a good line. It really was a good line this weekend.
Yeah, when people are making comments to watch out for Dom, he's got to be. He was everywhere on the ice. So
he was.
They definitely weren't wrong in their comments to watch out for.
All right, so let's get into Friday night's game.
Black Bears defeat IceCats on Inverse Night 6-3, January 23, 2025, Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, Game 33 of the season. Pee Dee IceCats at Binghamton Black Bears. First period, I'm so happy I don't have to read as much as you. Pee Dee struck first at the 3:54 mark of the opening period as Dominic's Marcinkiewicz put the IceCats in front 1-0.
Yeah. Scratches, and what's interesting is obviously in both games, Pee Dee struck first in both games in the first period. So that was interesting right there. First period notes, scratches, CJ Hapward and Nick Swain. Starters were Tyson Kirkby, Ivan Bondarenko, CJ Stubbs, Dan Stone, Austin DeRazio, and Dominic Tomei. So Brant Sherwood went back to starting his first lines again. Not surprised on who scored the first goal for the IceCats. Marcinkiewicz, whatever, has had a good season this year, whether you're talking about either both twins have played well. Nicholas Miguel Diaz's hooking call at the 7:10 mark was the first penalty in the game, giving the Black Bears the first power play opportunity. First 11 minutes, the Black Bears didn't look sharp, in my opinion. On their first power play, they gave up a shorthanded rush to the IceCats. Now, we didn't talk about this in the preview, and we really should have. The IceCats this year have the most shorthanded goals this season of any team in the league. So what we saw a few times, Taylor, this weekend, we saw how they were able to do that. They had a few throughout both games, a few good chances shorthanded against us.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely easy to see how they do it. I mean, they're very much on top of their guys, and they are very quick with their sticks.
Yeah. Let's see here. You can see that the IceCats get the puck, and they move from zone to zone. They have structure and a plan. Gary Graham has the team doing the right things in the offensive zone. I think what it comes down to is defensively, and then up until they got Parker Rutherford, their defensive side of the game hasn't been that good for them. And so I think everything kind of came together pretty good for the first two games against the Binghamton Black Bears for them. This hasn't been the worst or the best period for the Black Bears. I think there has been too many missed plays, turnovers, and missed opportunities. Part being the Black Bears not in sync tonight. I didn't think they were in sync. I think they were in sync, just not as fully in sync as we normally see. All right. And that means Friday night and Saturday night. In the other way, PD sets up plays in each zone, I think they weren't able to react to that or adjust to that until later on in this game. The Black Bears have outshot the IceCats by 4 shots, but the IceCats disrupted the play completely of the Black Bears and did not allow good passing and shooting lanes. The Black Bears need to adjust and find a better way to beat Rutherford on Friday night. All right, power play opportunities. Binghamton was 0 for 1. PD was 0 for 0. Shots on goal was Binghamton 13 and PD 9.
Binghamton tied the game 11 seconds in the second period when Ivan Bondarenko scored his 8th goal of the season to make it 1-1. PD regained the lead at 4:23 on a goal from Houston Wilson. The Black Bears pulled even again at 8:48 when Jacob Shankar, returning from injured reserve, converted on a feed from Kyle Steffen to make it 2-2. Binghamton took its first lead of the night with 2:14 remaining in the period as Scott Ramakers scored his 7th goal of the season. PD answered before intermission with Dominik Marcinkiewicz recording his 2nd goal of the game to tie the score 3-3 with 55 seconds left in the period.
Yes, a lot more scoring in that period. That was Bondarenko's first goal since November 21st. The Power Play Post Show, I think, jinx is over with. November 21st versus the Danbury Hat-Tricks, which broke his 19-game streak of not scoring a goal. However, this is the 25th straight game registering a point. So, not a big deal. The Bondarenko goal was the perfect time and place for him to score the exact moment after the Black Bears were shot out in the first period. Jacob Shankar is back. Great to see him get on the scoreboard in his first game back. Alexander Legoff had 2 assists in the game, and that's not a surprise, as he seems to get on the score sheet whenever he's playing against the Black Bears. That was a back and forth second period with the Black Bears scoring 3 and the IceCats coming back with 2 of their own. The Black Bears had the lead in the game for about a minute and a half. PD can play north to south hockey, and if you give them space, and they had it tonight, you're going to pay for it, and we did. That first, like the first, needs to be slowed down. That first line needs to be slowed down. Not sure which line on the Black Bears is going to do it, though. The third period will be interesting. Power play opportunities, Binghamton 0 for 1. PD 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 14, PD 7. Totals were Binghamton 27 and PD 16.
Binghamton went back in front on the power play with 9:57 remaining in the third period as Mac Jansen scored with Timur Razlov serving a hooking minor. The Black Bears added another power play goal with 4:53 left when defenseman Dan Stone scored his 5th goal of the season after Matthew Gilbert was penalized for slashing. With the PD goaltender Parker Rutherford pulled for an extra attacker, CJ Stubbs sealed the game with an empty net goal in the final 32 seconds to make it 6-3. The win improves Binghamton to 33-0 with 88 points, while PD drops to 11-17-3. The teams meet again Saturday night in Binghamton.
Okay, so let me ask you this. The third period, obviously a great response by the Black Bears. Some adjustments. They were able to move the puck a little bit better. They were able to play in the third period like we normally are used to seeing them play in the third period. What were your thoughts on that? Because I think some people would be like, well, what happened in game 2 of this series based on the fact that Binghamton throughout Friday night's game made adjustments in their game on the ice, and they were able to come back and defeat the IceCats, but they weren't able to do it on Saturday. So what did you see on Friday in the third period?
I think it kind of started in the second period with, Bondarenko scoring in just a couple seconds of the start of that period. I think that kind of started the momentum to kind of carry that through into the third period. And then we saw, I think, PD's very good at doing the back and forth thing. And I even said at the beginning of the game after the first period, the back and forth, somebody at some point has to give, because that's a lot of back and forth, and you're going to have tired players at some point.
Right.
So it's just who can keep up and who can keep going. And I think, kind of the Bondarenko scoring early into the second, and then, to kind of have that momentum carry you through the second and then to go into the third. I think the Black Bears, they don't like to lose. And they, as we've all talked about before, they find a way to win. And I think that's what the third period was, is they wanted to win and they were going to do what it took to do that.
Yeah. Okay. While the Black Bears were on the penalty kill for Scott Romaker's tripping call, Mac Jansen had an amazing shorthanded effort. I think that happened just in front of you, Taylor. But then on the power play shortly later, it's Mac Jansen getting the go-ahead goal, his 21st of the season. In the first 10 minutes of the third period, Pee Dee was still getting puck possession and controlling the puck and getting into Black Bears' defensive zone, but the Black Bears were recovering a lot better. The Black Bears got better as the game went on, not just because they scored 3 goals in the second and 3 goals in the third, but it's the way they adjusted and reacted how the IceCats were playing. Brant Sherwood said after the game, because there was a video that was put out, so if you guys listened to the video, you would have seen this. He said that after the game, no team in this league can hang for a full 60 minutes versus the Black Bears. And I said he's right. Till game 2 happened. Friday night, the Black Bears were not good in the first period, but they increasingly improved each period afterwards. Bondarenko scoring his 8th goal. That was a huge smile. I mean, the smile on his face was great. Jacob Shankar, the second goal of the season, that smile, that energy that Jacob Shankar brings to the ice is amazing. And by the way, folks, if you're still listening 40 minutes in, and I hope you are, Jacob Shankar is going to be our next guest here on the Power Play Post Show this upcoming Thursday, so that'll be a lot of fun. Mac Jansen with the game winner, that fist pump, that was awesome. Dominic Tomei did not have his best game, but he did make important saves in the last 35 minutes of the game. He gave the team a lot of chance to get back into this game. These types of games are important for the team and for the netminder. I do like the style of Pee Dee's hockey. I like the way they play. But if they give up late game power plays to the Black Bears, they will make them pay for it. This was the first line of Markinovic, Wilson, Legoff are good. Don't hate me for saying this. They play smart north to south hockey, passing east to west very successfully too. Saturday night's game should be fun. Okay, that was not a correct term necessarily, but power play opportunities. 2 for 2 for Binghamton in the third period. Pee Dee was 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 13, Pee Dee 9. The totals were Binghamton 40 and Pee Dee 25. And Taylor, we'll leave this game with this. The way Binghamton adjusted and reacted and kind of started to take over the game was very impressive to see.
Yeah, I think it's something that you expect from Binghamton, in all honesty. I think even though it's a team that we haven't faced before, and Pee Dee isn't, first in the Continental Division.
No.
But I think they could be. I think the style that they play and the way they play their game. And I know that you had made a comment from Friday night's game that, we have so much depth on this team that pretty much anybody can score. And it kind of seemed like they really relied on that first line. And
they did.
That it is a very heavy first line. Like, there's no question about that. All 3 of those guys are really good. But if they can get in and they score, that's all that matters. So I do think the depth is important, especially if you need to kind of have the mobility to keep switching guys out on the ice because you're doing so much back and forth. But if you can have that first line out there and they're the ones scoring, then at the end of the game, it doesn't matter.
Agreed. I think, if they're just now getting their feet wet, they could be in 4th, 3rd, 2nd place within a month. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm going to forget about them after tonight's broadcast because we go to Twin City and then we have Indiana, who's actually in our division, and we got to keep them down at the bottom of the list. And then we got to get through the remainder of Danbury and Watertown games. So after this, I'm going to forget about them. But you have to circle these 2 games on the calendar and go, hey, remember how they played? What if we see that again in the finals? We have to make sure that we're ready for it. So it's something that you have to forget and move on from, right? But you also have to, at the same time, learn from it. All right, let's wrap this up with a bow so we can move on.
Bondarenko, Shankar, Jansen score 6-3 win over IceCats. Ivan Bondarenko scored his 8th goal of the season, assisted on 2 goals for a 3-point night. Jacob Shankar scored his 2nd goal of the season. Scott Ramaker scored his 7th goal of the season and assisted on another goal for a 2-point night. Mac Jansen scored his 21st of the season, scoring a power play goal, which was the game winner. Dan Stone scored his 5th goal of the season, also on the power play. CJ Stubbs scored his 25th goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Dominic Tomei saved 22 of 25 shots, earning his 16th win of the season, improving his record to 16-1-0. The Black Bears improved their record to 33-0 with 88 points, keeping themselves on top of the Empire Division.
Yeah, so that's that. All right, that's Friday's game. We're going to move on from that. We're going to play the 6 more questions with Cheechoo Lathlin right here, right now. And then we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. It is 6 more questions with Cheechoo Lathlin. Cheechoo, you ready for these?
Not really, but you can go.
You're the first person to say, nope, not really. That's awesome. That's the best line right there. All right, number 1, who was the greatest influence on your hockey career? Do we go back to Jonathan Cheechoo again? Or is it your dad, your brother?
Definitely my brother.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just watching him play when I grew up, and I wanted to be him. He was like a star, I guess.
To you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, for some of the fans that don't know, he was 8 years older than you, correct? So when he was playing, you never really got to play with him, but you got to watch him a lot.
Yes. We do play with each other still in
Sure.
In senior tournaments and rec tournaments back up in Canada.
Who's the better player, you or him? You don't want to answer that, do you?
It's me.
Oh, okay. Well, you played pro. Did he play pro?
No, but I feel like he could have.
Okay.
He definitely could have.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Number 2, what is your dream job outside of playing hockey? You haven't thought about that yet, have you?
No.
So no plan. You're banking on making it to the NHL now, right?
Yeah, you can say so. Probably it would have to be something with golf.
Okay. All right. So most of the guys on the team love to play golf and everything. You haven't had a chance to play with any of the guys yet, have you?
I have. I got to play with Nick Swain, Bondo, Weebs. I went out for a round with those guys.
Right during training camp?
I think it was one of my first weeks here. So
okay.
I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks after
Gotcha.
that.
Cool. All right. Number 3, what artist is on your Spotify playlist the most? Like, who do you listen to the most when you listen to music?
Oh, another hard one because I'm all over the place. Probably Drake.
Okay. So you like rap and R&B and soul, that kind of music?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right, Drake's good. Number 4, who is the most interesting guy in the locker room? And I know we were just talking as we're recording this here during the week, but is it John Brown? Is John Brown the most interesting guy in the locker room?
Yes, 100%.
Why do you say that? What is it about him that makes him so interesting?
He's not human. I don't know. Like he surprises me with something new every day. And he's also probably the funniest guy in our locker room, I'd have to say.
All right. I'll take that. All right. Number 5, what is your favorite candy or sweet?
Fuzzy Peaches.
What is a Fuzzy Peaches? Is that a Canadian thing? Is that a Manitoba thing that I don't know about?
It's like what are those things called? they're like a sour gummy, but they taste like peaches. They're like little circle, and they have sugar all over them.
Yep, I'm looking at them right now. I pulled them up on the internet. I typed in fuzzy peaches, and okay, now I know. So fizzy peaches or fuzzy?
I'm not sure. Fuzzy, I think.
Okay, yeah, fuzzy peaches candy. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. Maynard's fuzzy peaches. Huh? I've never seen that. All right, that's a new candy. You brought up a new candy that I've never seen or heard before. So, is that something that you see a lot up in Canada?
Yeah, either those or
oh, you know what?
Probably Sour Patch Kids or Skittles.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. I like the Sour Patch Kids a lot, and I see that Haribo here in the United States actually sells fuzzy peaches too. All right, I know people are probably listening to this going, Bob, what are you talking about? I've seen fuzzy peaches all the time, and I just have never had them. So very good. All right, number 6, the last question. A zombie outbreak has happened, and you're locked in an ice hockey arena. Who is the one person, dead or alive, fictional, non-fictional, that you'd want there with you?
I'm gonna have to go with probably someone like Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis. Okay, that's a good answer. I like that.
I feel like he would just keep me entertained the whole time.
Yeah. And you guys probably survive, right?
I hope so.
I hope so too. All right. He is Cheechoo Lathlin. Cheechoo, thank you very much for coming on. Please tell your father I said hello. I really mean that. It's great that he listens to the show. Appreciate you listening to the show as well. But thank you very much for coming on and spending time with us.
Thank you very much, Bob.
All right. And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Cheechoo Lathlin. And I just want to say, just really nice kid. Really, really, really nice kid. I got to see him after the game on Saturday night. He was skating around on the ice and, kind of just looked over at me. I gave him the peace sign. Apparently, for some reason, on Saturday night, I was doing the peace sign for everybody. Not sure why. Just for some reason, I was at peace with the world or at peace, in my life at that point, and I was just giving everybody the peace sign. Kristen Miller came up and wanted a picture, which, believe it or not, the guy, the red coat at the game in the corner would not let me open up the door and give her let me take a picture with her. I had to do the picture through the glass. So if you see the picture online, it's because the red coat wouldn't let me open it up. They've let me open that up any single time that I've ever wanted to. And he made up some false statement that, we can't do that anymore. Yeah, he was letting players' girlfriends and wives skate off and open up the door for them. Total garbage. I was not happy about it, but it is what it is. And I'm sure that's the one red coat that probably doesn't listen to my show anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. A quick reminder for Binghamton hockey fans, support the Power Play Post Show by subscribing on YouTube and liking the episode. Your engagement helps YouTube recommend the show to more local hockey fans, ensuring Binghamton hockey stays visible and well covered. It doesn't cost you anything and helps us continue producing interviews, breakdowns, and hockey content for the community. Subscribe and like on YouTube today. Taylor, let's get into the 4-0 loss.
Black Bears get shut out at home 4-0. January 24th, 2025, Visions Veterans Memorial Arena. Game 34 of the season, Pee Dee IceCats at Binghamton Black Bears. First period, after a turnover in the offensive zone, the IceCats transitioned quickly the other way and entered the Black Bears' end. Dominik Marcinkiewicz threaded a pass across the slot past defenseman Dan Stone to Alexander Legkoff, who converted for the game's opening goal at the 3:50 mark of the first period.
Boy, sounds familiar, right? You know what I mean? It's like when we got to that was their fourth goal now against us, and all four of the goals up to that point, Taylor, same people involved.
And continuing on with the Marcinkiewicz, he factored into scoring again, but this time it was Patrick's who found the back of the net. He finished a well-placed feed from Janis Zajac, extending the IceCats lead at 10:10 of the first period.
Excellent pronunciation of Zajac, by the way. I just want to let you know. All right, so scratches in the game, same as the Friday night game. Nick Swain and CJ Hapworth starters. Same again as Friday night. Yvonne Bondarenko, Tyson Kirkby, CJ Stubbs, Austin DeRazio, Dan Stone, and Dominic Tomei. Again, like last night, the same three IceCats are able to control the puck and get good zone presence. And after the Black Bears turn over the puck, Marcinkiewicz sent a good east to west pass to past Dan Stone on a 2-on-1 to leg off for the goal. The Black Bears are not getting the same type of quality chances on Rutherford, but can the IceCats do this for a full 60 minutes? Well, we already know that they did. After the Marcinkiewicz second goal there was a long delay, and then the IceCats were assessed a bench minor for a legal roster. Not sure how and what the legal roster was, although we did find out. With 1:56 left to go in the period, the IceCats number 14, Chance Adrian, left the ice from PD. He is listed as an inactive player on the Fed site. And apparently he was on the 15-day IR and wasn't supposed to come off until today. So, oops. Not a great first period for the Black Bears. This time they are down 2-0 and need to bounce back a little more in the second period. PD can get in deep on the Black Bears more so than we have seen all season by almost any team. And that's the truth here. Power play opportunities, Binghamton 0 for 1, PD 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 9 and PD 7. Were you a little like, wow, what's going on here? You know, I mean, this is the second first period in a row that the Black Bears may have been outplayed a little bit.
I maybe a little bit, just because, you know, we know how well the Black Bears play, but kind of watching, especially after Friday night's game, on how PD plays.
Yeah.
I guess I can't say that I was really that shocked, just because of how fast and well they move the puck on the ice, and just kind of like how well they're able to interrupt our play. I guess it didn't really surprise me in Saturday's game that's kind of how it started, in the same way that it did Friday night.
All right. Moving on to the second period.
Despite sustained pressure at both ends of the ice, the second period remained scoreless, as neither the Black Bears nor the IceCats could capitalize on their opportunities.
What? No goals? You didn't have to say any crazy names? That's just not fair. All right. The power play that Black Bears got near the 6-minute mark didn't look good, or look like the power play we have seen from this team. And the part of that is PD, right? The way they played defensively, they were able to just, disrupt everything that the Black Bears were trying to do. Going on a 5-on-3 play, the IceCats take a timeout at the 9:58 mark of the period. This with 1:01 left of the 5-on-3 power play time left. Black Bears killed the 5-on-3 in the remainder of Tyson's penalty as well, because Tyson's penalty that put them down 5-3. The back end of it, they killed that as well. And the Black Bears, penalty kill was still good all weekend long. Not an impressive period from the Black Bears. In last night's game, the second period is where they started to get into their groove. So for this period, the IceCats have limited good lanes for the Black Bears to shoot through. They have made Rutherford look better than he likely is. And I know that sounds like I'm disrespecting him, but I watched enough of his games last year with Danville to say he probably looked a little bit better than he probably should have in this game. Again, it's an opinion. I'm allowed to have one. The Black Bears need to get into the lanes in front of Rutherford in the third period, which they had a hard time doing. I don't know if having Sirota in the game would make a difference, but I think the Black Bears are missing his and Swain's swagger on the ice. Does that make sense? I do think that Swain and Sirota bring a certain swagger. Completely different, I think, but still bring a certain swagger that maybe they were missing just a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I think it would have been very interesting to see Swain match up against kind of the way that Pee Dee was playing. Because honestly, I think Swain plays very similarly to Pee Dee.
Yeah.
So that would have definitely been an interesting, kind of matchup to see right there. That's why I wish we played them more, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Dorazio looked like a took high sticking that was missed late in the period when the Black Bears were on their fourth power play. It's about the only complaint I have about the refs. Otherwise, everything else was minor. I don't know if the Black Bears have been shut out through the first two periods of any game this season. I did not go back to check on that to see if that was the case. I think this was the first time. Popov complained with a 40 seconds left to go in the period after getting a penalty, and yet he's the one with the theatrics display flopping on the ice. Like, whatever happened. And then all of a sudden, like a half a second or a second later, he does this theatrical fly in the air and then lands on his back and then looks at the referee like, wait, I'm getting the penalty? Yeah, that was just a little bit of insane there. Then at the end of the period, the IceCats going after D-Raz and going off the ice, pointing to the scoreboard. Now, if there's anything I'm going to pick on the IceCats for is this. Okay, you beat the Black Bears 4-0. Good for you. Just like Watertown broke the streak, they're happy about it. You're going to be happy about it. But I'm telling you right now, it's the two-time defending champions. Okay, number one. Number two, okay, fine. You beat them. They have 30 freaking wins. You take all of your wins, put it together, and you still don't, and you double it, you still don't have the same amount of wins as the Black Bears. Pointing to the screen is just immature and shows how you have still yet to grow when it comes to being a team. Black Bears, other than Don Oliveri, didn't pull that kind of crap. Don Oliveri was only one, but that was his swagger. That's what he did. That's how he, got you fired up. How he got his teammates fired up was doing that stuff. You guys don't have that cachet. You don't have that to cash in yet, at least in my opinion. But pointing to the scoreboard was kind of hilarious. Like, look up there. Really, dude? What have you won? You haven't won anything yet. All right. So just saying, that's the only thing I got to pick on them about, because you don't go into somebody's. Now, of course, the Black Bears kind of brush that off and just kind of move on, because I think the third period they played really well and they got a lot of shots on goal. But again, these shots were from the perimeter and they weren't in deep and very difficult. Power play opportunities in the second period. Binghamton was 0 for 3. Pee Dee was 0 for 2. Shots on goal, Binghamton 9, Pee Dee 5. Totals were Binghamton 18 and Pee Dee 12. The third period, Taylor.
Dominik Marcinkiewicz extended the IceCats lead to 3-0 after capitalizing on a Black Bears turnover at the 3:44 mark of the final period. With the Black Bears net empty for the extra attacker in the closing minutes, Pee Dee added to the lead as Janis Zajac scored the fourth and final goal with 1:22 remaining. The IceCats held on to secure the shutout in front of a sold-out crowd on Saturday night.
And I think and I've already mentioned it, but I think for me, Taylor, and I'm sure you would agree with me a little bit on this, the ending moments of that game, watching one of our players slide across the ice, trying to block what ended up being eventually becoming the fourth goal, is what I'm going to remember from this game, because effort and heart was there, just the execution wasn't.
I mean, technically it was two players, because Dorazio slid first, and it technically hit off the bar and came back for the rebound. But then, Bondarenko slid across to try and do. So you technically had two guys attempting. It just, didn't work out, unfortunately.
No. The Black Bears are not in sync, and in some nights you just don't have it. Tonight they didn't have it. Through the first 10 minutes of the period, the Black Bears are getting into the offensive zone, but they could not get a shot through the IceCats, and they're playing a positionally sound game in front of Rutherford, eliminating Black Bears' high-quality chances. Bears were last shut out in the regular season on March 10th of 2023. That was obviously the Carolina Thunderbirds back then. Black Bears called, now that was in the regular season. Obviously, they got shut out in the playoffs last year by Port Huron. Those are the 3 shutouts. That's it. Black Bears called timeout with 2:52 left to go in the third period, pulled to May at the 17:28 mark, just as Lathlin came out of the penalty box as he was sitting for boarding. Some people said that shouldn't have been boarding. It should have been roughing. I don't care. It was a call. He was going to get called for that. Didn't matter what it was called. No, this was not the Black Bears' best night. No one is to blame when everyone on the team could have done something a little bit better. Okay. Usually people cannot keep up with the Black Bears, and tonight the Black Bears did control the neutral zone well, but in the D zone they got beat, and in the offense zone they could not sustain. That is really what it came down to. Next Friday against the Twin City Thunderbirds is a new day and a new game, and that's how you have to look at it. First shutout for the Black Bears in the regular season. I already said that. That's a great run. Only the 4th loss, no big whoop. That's something you said too. Power play opportunities, Binghamton 0 for 2, Pee Dee 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 17, Pee Dee 5. Again, Black Bears had opportunities. They just weren't great ones. Let's just be honest. And overall, it was Binghamton 35 and Pee Dee 17. Usually that is not the recipe to beat the Black Bears, like undershooting them by more than half, but it is what it is. Your final thoughts on the shutout?
It happened. It's probably bound to happen at some point. It's hockey. It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
As far as to kind of jump back to the pointing at the scoreboard thing, I think the only time that a team could really do that to make any kind of emphasis on what they're doing is if you can come in and consistently beat a team.
Sure.
Then you can point at the scoreboard, you can do what you want kind of thing. But there isn't a team yet that has consistently beat the Black Bears, and I think that's something to kind of hold on to.
Yeah.
They've had 4 losses total this season, which is, outstanding for one.
Insane, right?
Right. So I think until somebody can come in and consistently beat the Black Bears, there's no complaints on my end. And to be honest, I looked up Rutherford's record earlier just because I was curious, because I thought he'd been in this league for quite a long time.
I think a year and a half now.
Since 23.
Oh, okay.
Is when I looked. For some reason, I thought he'd been in here for ever. And he doesn't have a great record. I think he's 38 and 5. He's got 5 wins.
Yeah, to be fair, he was on a really horrible Dashers team last year, and he never left the team. I get it. Now, I want to say this about Parker, and I want people to hear this. So if you think I'm bashing him because I say he's not a great goaltender, I don't think he's a good goaltender. I just don't think he's a good. But nobody stayed with that team more last year with the Dashers than Parker Rutherford. I will give him that. He was the only guy that just stuck in through thick and thin the whole season long. And I give Parker a lot of credit. Matter of fact, Parker was let go of that team in the middle of the season. The fans and everybody said, you got to bring him back. They brought him back, and he still came back, even though that was a travesty of a craziness. Granted, do I think he could beat the best teams in the league? No. Did he beat Binghamton and Athens 2 weeks ago? Yes. Part of it is the team that is in front of him, for sure. But he puts a lot of heart and soul into what he does, and that's simple. But I think he's beatable. I really do think that Parker Rutherford is a beatable goaltender in this league. Yet he's now beaten Athens a couple weeks ago, and he's beaten Binghamton now. So that's a couple notches on his belt. And again, if anybody's hearing this from Pee Dee or Parker, it's no offense.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't take anything away from a goaltender. That's already the toughest job out there on the ice.
Great.
But also at the same time, I think part of the difference between Friday night and Saturday night's game is, and again, this is absolutely nothing against Rutherford.
Yeah.
But if you put a goalie in that doesn't have the greatest record, you force your team to have to play better in front of him. And that's exactly what Pee Dee did.
Yeah.
On Saturday night, they made sure that they were not allowing Binghamton to come in and get those great chances that they do in other games or get those sneaky goals that they like to get. They made sure that they were on top of Rutherford, and they made sure to get those pucks out of the zone. And that's what they did.
Now, one of the things that I want to talk about before we wrap this up with the very short synopsis that you have to read here, because Black Bears didn't score, I do want to mention that the Moccasins have 6 losses. They have 4 regulation losses, and they have 2 overtime losses. Binghamton has 4 regulation losses. So Monroe has lost 2 more games. Now they have won 17 in a row. They're the hottest team right now in the league. But again, like Binghamton having to play Watertown and Danbury, the Moccasins have played Baton Rouge a lot. They obviously, and they're going to, because of the part of the country that they're in. They've played Biloxi. They've played teams that just can't match up with them, right? Same thing with Athens. Athens, they have 5 losses, regulation losses. They have no OT losses. These are the 3 teams right now, Binghamton, Monroe, and Athens, that are basically the class above everybody else. However, I really wish Binghamton, Monroe, and Athens would just play each other a little bit more. And now, after seeing these 2 games against PD, I wish Binghamton had played Columbus this season. We're not going to play Columbus at all. We only played 2 games against PD. I just wish we would see Blue Ridge and Topeka. I'm sorry, but I hate harping back on the schedule thing. But I really think that after seeing us play against PD, because I don't want no surprises going into the playoffs. I like seeing us play teams because it eliminates surprises. Now, Branch Sherwood and Coach Q, have material to look at. If we have to play PD in the finals, we have something to look at. We have nothing to look at about the way Binghamton plays against Monroe, because we've not played Monroe. We've played Athens twice. There's 2 games there. I really wish that, but that's just me. I know I'm harping on a really dead horse. Let's wrap up this game.
Black Bears shut out for the first time since March 10th, 2023. Dominic Tomei saved 13 of 16 shots in the loss, making his record now 16-2-0. The Black Bears record drops to 34-0 with 88 points, if the Black Bears are still atop of the Empire Division.
I do want to throw out a shout out, Mark Wilbur, who I know listens to the show. Mark Wilbur, if you're out there and if you hear this, I hope you're okay. I know he took a fall during the Friday night game, during the inverse game, and some people there at the arena helped him. A couple fans, there was a nurse behind. They took care of him. I hope you're doing okay, man. I hope you're feeling better, because I hate to see stuff like that happen. And what do we have next? Oh, that's right. Twin City is coming up, right? Yeah. I'm just looking for it in my list. I scrolled too far ahead, just like you did while we were waiting. All right, next week, the Twin City Thunderbirds return for the final 2 games in the 5-game series between the 2 teams this season. The Black Bears are 3-0 so far this season against the Thunderbirds. The Black Bears took both games in Winston-Salem on January 9th and January 10th, while taking the first game of the season between the 2 teams on November 29th in Binghamton, New York. Now, the question will be, will Binghamton sweep the regular season series against the Twin City Thunderbirds? I think it'll be interesting to see how good of a week of practices that they have, what they learn from the PD stuff, and, Zach Sirota coming back into the fold. Nick Swain should be back into the fold. They'll be able to figure out who they want to play and when. Now, don't forget, fans, you still have potentially 2 more players that are going to go up in the SPHL to play a couple games. So we don't know when that's going to happen. It could happen this upcoming weekend. It could happen the weekend after. We're not really sure. And no, I don't know why Nick Swain was away from the team this past weekend. And it's really none of our damn business. Anyways.
I want your opinion on if you think they're gonna sweep the regular season series with Twin City.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to come back and win both games this upcoming weekend. I don't see why not. I don't think Twin City is the same team as that we've seen in the past. They don't have, I mean, Boris Babic is an okay goaltender. He's been around the league for a long time, but I think he's still a step down from Mario Cavallari. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't think I'm hurting anybody's feelings by saying that. I just don't think he's the same goaltender as Cavallari was. They do have a couple of their guys like Jan Salak still there, Gus Ford, who can score goals. But defensively, I don't think they match up well with the Binghamton Black Bears defensively. So, yeah, I think they have a very good chance.
All right. I pretty much agree, which is, so shocking that we agree on something.
I agree.
Before we wrap up, quick reminder that our new poster giveaway continues this Thursday. If you missed last week, here's your chance. Just watch the show, listen for the code phrase, and send it directly to me on Facebook Messenger. If you're the winning message, you'll get an 11x14 poster of your favorite Black Bears player delivered at an upcoming home game. Your next chance to win is this Thursday. Don't miss it.
All right. One last note. If you won last week, thank you for playing, taking pictures with us and with the players. With the posters, we loved that. We really did. Both of us really, really enjoyed seeing that interaction. But because we have just a limited amount of Thursdays left, we want to make sure more fans get their hands on these posters too. So only one win this season. Thank you for understanding and listening to the Power Play Post Show. Taylor, I'm really excited to run this again on Thursday.
I am too. It's definitely a lot of fun, and it's just I don't know. It makes my Thursdays very exciting, just because of the I like the code word thing, and people. I had a couple of people just messaged me the code word, which is totally fine. You don't have to say hi. You don't have to. You can just message me the code word. I'll understand. I had a couple people that were like, "Hey, the code word, for the show." I had a couple people that messaged me like, "Are you Taylor with the Power Play Post Show?" So, if you find me, you find me. Just you say whatever you want to say. Doesn't matter to me as long as you got the code word in there. I'll get you in.
Yeah, and I just want to say the code phrase is going to change. But EJ,
yes.
but EJ, when he heard it, that was his tagline for this year. Bear witness was his tagline. He was so excited that was our first code phrase. So Taylor and I, over the next day or two, will be coming up with a new code phrase or something that we want you to say to us or say to her.
And a new number.
What's that? And a new number.
And a new number.
Oh, yeah. We were pretty sure we already got the number down. So we know what number you have to be, which one you have to be. And we'll see how that goes this upcoming Thursday. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Patitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears, defenseman Cheechoo Lathlin, for answering 6 more questions. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you this upcoming Thursday right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.